Mr. Seahorse. Words written by Eric Carle. Illustrations are also by Eric Carle. I'm going to hold this up closely. You can see here, this is called the Laura Ingalls Wilder Award. That means this book received an award because it's been around for a long time and it's still a really great book that teaches us. So, that's the picture and the information on the front cover. If I flip to the back cover, it's important for me to read this so you can really understand how cool this story is and maybe why it has received the award. Dear friends, in most fish families, after the mother has laid the eggs and the father has fertilized them, the eggs are left on their own. But there are exceptions such as the seahorse, the stickleback, tilapia, Curtis nursery fish, pipefish, bullhead catfish, and some others. Not only are the eggs cared for by a parent, but surprise! That parent is the father. This may sound strange, but it is the truth, and this is my story about them. I hope you enjoy my story. Eric Carle. So, like Eric Carle said to us, the readers, he said that just like human babies, female seahorses lay eggs just like mother humans have babies. But then the father is the one who hatches the eggs. That would be like you're a mom giving your dad your baby, and he would be the one who would then have that baby. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea. Mrs. Seahorse began to wiggle and twist this way and that way. It's time for me to lay my eggs, she said. Can I help? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Oh, yes, thank you, said Mrs. Seahorse, and she laid her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. I'll take good care of our eggs, said Mr. Seahorse. I promise. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a group of trumpet fish hidden in a patch of reeds. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Stickleback? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Delighted, replied Mr. Stickleback. I just built a nest and right away Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Built the nest. He's staying by them. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a stonefish hidden behind a rock. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Pipe? Asked Mr. Seahorse. I couldn't be better, replied Mr. Pipe. Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I'm taking good care of them until they hatch. You should feel proud of yourself, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam away. So he's also carrying the eggs. See, Mr. Seahorse's belly's getting bigger. Those eggs are growing. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Bullhead? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Tip-top, replied Mr. Bullhead. Mrs. Bullhead laid her eggs, and the eggs hatched. Now I'm babysitting. You are doing a fine job, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. The time had come for the seahorse babies to be born. Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted this way and that. At least the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. At last, The babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. Oh, baby! Turned around and tried to come back into the one baby turned around and tried to come back into the pouch. Oh no, said Mr. Seahorse. I do love you, but now you're ready to be on your own. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story about the male fish in the ocean that actually help with birthing or having eggs or hatching eggs.